Welcome to the Microsoft Training Event Session 2, sponsored by Bash Computers. In this session, we will go over the features and benefits of Windows Server 2012 with Raul Bandeira.
But I want to go to the overview of Windows Server 2012 and quickly go through a couple of trends here. So when you look what's happening from purchases, large corporations and even smaller companies, we're going from buying machines that are, on a server side, they are dedicated to workloads, to going into a pool of resources where you can have, already changing here, so a pool of resources that have the compute, storage, and network. So it's not only how you make that happen, so having the ability to manage several servers as one, but having the ability to take advantage of storage technologies as well as networking from a high speed and the ability of hardware offload from a network perspective. So it makes sense to go from going from dedicated to a pool of resources and managing it that way. And that's where all the investment is going to make Windows Server 2012 that's built from the cloud up and enabling all the pieces on easy development, how you deliver and manage the data, how you manage your data and gain access to it, being able to take advantage of virtualization, and take advantage of all the investments you already made in Active Directory, you or your customers. But this is putting the server at the center and giving customers the choice whether I do it on-premise, whether I do it on private cloud, right, in on-premise or outside. Private cloud is not always on-prem, or public cloud, but having the same platform that goes across all of that. When you look at how the platform is built, you see in the different, I forgot the word now, what's the word for the different versions? Yeah. Wow. So when you look at you see the simplicity that we're trying to put into the Windows Server, all the additions, that's the word I was looking for, and simplifying choice. So instead of having to have conversations around which edition I buy, you start having conversations where I'm going with my IT. And because of that, you start having a same platform that can reach from a very small customer that's thinking about the first server all the way up to automated, heavily automated virtualization that requires management on private cloud. So this is very important in the conversation with your customer, is now we're going to be talking about what matters rather than the tactical conversation of what edition I'm buying because of the capabilities that exist within that one edition. And you'll see the comparison on the top capabilities.
Is Data Center the only version that supports private cloud?
Data Center is the only one that, no, both of them support private cloud. Both of them do, because the only difference, you see that the only difference today between Data Center and Standard is virtualization.
Okay.
There's no capability difference whatsoever between the two. And you see that. We're going to talk about that. Sorry if I have to accelerate a little bit here, but we'll cover all the points. I think this is pretty intuitive, thinking about going beyond virtualization. There are still lots of customers you talk to, I bet, that equate cloud to virtualization. They think that virtualization cloud is only about virtualization. I've had a couple of conversations like that, and they say, well, but I don't want to virtualize anything, so why do I care? Well, let's go beyond that conversation and offering for those who do virtualization all the ability to manage as well. As I said before, virtualizing is one thing, managing is a completely different one. And I wanted to focus for your audience and your customers, the ability to, if you have the customers that you have with multiple servers, the ability to manage all the servers as one. So this is is getting to the main part of the conversation about servers. Is you used to have a variation of an amount of servers and additions that you had to juggle with in conversations with your customers. Now you have 4. But in reality, in volume licensing, only 2. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more. But the choice here is where you want, not in features, because all features are available for both standard and data center. It's really about the density or direction you're going with virtualization, how much you're going to virtualize. Or whether you want it to be connected in the cloud, or maybe not, but still needing a server that meets your demands. They're very easy to license because they don't require cows. You only buy it, there are limitations on users. Those two, the last two, right? The essentials and foundation. And you have that described in the So where does it fit? I think this is a very nice slide if you're having conversations with customers, which one is for what? So if you look at from the bottom up, for small businesses, small business will go all the way to standard depending on what kind of business they're running. But you look from an economic one for 15 users to a cloud, the first connection to the cloud is the first server for 25, and then going up on the density of virtualization, or the need of virtualization within the business, all the way up to the data center. This is really, really nice slide that I hear people use to drive conversations with customers depending on size. And obviously, you have to overlay on top of this here the kind of business the customer is running. Sometimes a very small organization runs a significant amount of data and requires a significant amount of power because of the business they run. Engineering firms, for instance, is the one that comes to mind.
Question?
Yes?
Are those number simultaneous users or total number of users? 15
Total number
to
of
25?
accounts.
Total number of accounts?
Yes,
but-
correct.
So if you want to add the 26, you got to delete the 25th one?
Yes.
You can't have
It
15?
will not let you go beyond 25.
We have a great question back
Yes.
here about the availability of product. In 2008, like for instance, Foundation was a tier 1 only product. So are we going to see that these 4 are available through the channel, or is there going to be limitations as to who has the availability of certain additions on the product?
I have to tell you that I do not know of any limitations that were passed on in any other presentations or documents I've read.
And these are all they can be purchased as OEM installations.
One is so let me go back, because this is important conversation. This is money conversation.
How do we get it is the question, right?
Okay, foundation servers OEM installed only.
Okay, so that's a tier 1. That's a tier 1.
Okay,
So it's still tier 1.
Only. So I'm sorry if I didn't understand what limitation meant, but this is OEM, and I thought that there was some of that here. And essentials, these are volume licensing. This is retail.
Okay.
That make sense?
Okay, so the way we purchase this, they would say, hey, we've got a server availability
Correct.
for this client. We order the open license. It comes in an email. If they need to get a disk, they can order it
Correct.
through worldwide fulfillment.
Correct.
The essentials will be something that we can sell through the channel that they can pre-install on servers. They buy
Yes.
the hardware themselves and install it.
All of the details
open
on how it
license.
works on the pre-installation, I don't know.
Right,
To
right.
be honest with you, I don't
But
know
the
how
foundation
that
is
process
a tier
works.
1 available. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to give this one here quickly. Oh, sorry. Cool. As a matter of fact, I can stay in this slide because we have a few minutes here, but this is a very important slide. So the prices here are all open, no level ERP. It's just for point of reference. I don't think that many customers that will pay that amount, but just to give you a sense for, although the capabilities of data center have changed dramatically, they have stayed at exactly the same price. Now, if you look at standard, it has gone up. Whatever the difference is, $70. I don't know, maybe, what is it? Just for the sake of argument, here's a 10%, this rounding. You're talking about the same exact capabilities in standard. And the reason why I'm stressing that is I would love for you to have the conversation with your customer that you don't need to stop and think about the choice based on capability, which has been a problem because you know what? Sometimes it means to me spending $4,000 versus $700 because of one line in the capability list that I need, and I am as a customer not very happy. If I can get away with $700 and you're telling me because of one thing I need, I have to pay $4,000, that's not a happy moment in that conversation. That's gone. That's gone. Right? It's all the same. There's no difference in bits between the two. The difference lies on unlimited virtualization, and it's one license per 2 products for both. And this one has 2 virtualization instances. And then you say, wait a minute, but if you need more than the 2, you need to buy data center? No, you can stack standard. Okay? So stay with me here for a second. This is super important. Instead of saying, I need more than this, I go to 4,000, you buy another one of this. And depending on the business model of your customer and how you're having that conversation, you will be able to stack up to 5 licenses of standard before you're talking data center where it crosses from an overall cost. However, it's important to know that if you didn't have the trusted conversation on and going in a very good direction of where your business is, right, your customer's business is going, and they decide that 7 times 2, 5 times 2, 10 virtualized instances is not enough, then they'll pay a penalty when they do the step up, if they decide to do the step up to data center, because they cannot do the step up for all 10. It is a huge mistake. It can be super costly for a company to underestimate, that's a great word, it's super wrong, in going in the wrong direction where I'm going with density of virtualization. And I want you to leave the room here knowing that confidently you can talk about one product, one set of bits, virtualization, and there's ability to stack on standard, so you don't have to go directly to data center. But that decision is a critical one that I hope you make money out of helping them make it, right? Making that decision.
So let me ask you a quick question on when we talk about the processor.
I think he had one first, excuse me.
Sorry, you said something about not wanting to spend a ton more money just for one line item. With the newer version of 2012, you're not going to have any SPS capability, correct?
Well, but that's a different, the small business now is the foundation and essentials.
So it is going to have exchange availability on it then?
Well, in the licensing, if you had SA, you do get a license when you're converting. In SA, you do get an exchange license. So that's an entire map. I have to tell you, I promise you, and I can give you my email if that's not the case. When you go back and look at the tables of if you do SA with software assurance with your customers, and if you don't believe that Microsoft has been very generous on that exchange, I would love to hear from you. Because this is the time, I've worked in worldwide licensing and pricing for a long time, and there were many things that I didn't necessarily like to tell customers because it didn't sound right. This time, I think there's a lot of wrong, being, turned into the right side. So please take a look at that, but you're right. Any other question? Yes, I'm sorry.
So when you're looking at the server and you're talking about license coverage, and you say the 2 processors. So if I have 4 processors in my machine, 4 ZIF sockets, then I have to have 2 instances of data center,
correct,
or 2 instances of Windows Standard Server.
2 licenses.
2 licenses.
That is correct.
Okay. So if I have an 8-way, not a 16-core processor, but actual ZIF socket.
If I had the time, I promise. I love this because I have some slides that will just really show you how generous the entire thing is, because there are even ways in which when you're going from R into 2012 that you can prove to Microsoft by just running a tool into your website, into your environment to show that you're running today 4 procs with 1 license, Microsoft will give it to you. If customers are doing that, right? So I can't say enough how much simpler and how much easier it is to talk about licensing from a server perspective. And SQL is going in the same direction, by the way. And if you're looking at System Center, it's exactly the same. So it maps 100% System Center to 2012. So if that is something that you sell, it becomes a much easier conversation there as well. And then I want to be super respectful of the next presenter. I don't want to be extending. I can stay here the entire day. I love you guys. So it's all right. Another couple minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're still good.
Go ahead.
You still didn't really answer the question. We don't sell anything less than dual Xeons, so dual quad Xeons. So if there's 2 processors, you're really looking at $1,780, $1,760.
Up to 2.
And that's what I said is.
You said it's generous, but legally.
No, up to 2
What
processors.
I said
You have 2
generous.
processors, 1 license. If you
Yes,
have
every 2
4 processors, 2 licenses.
Okay.
you need 1 license.
And a processor is a socket.
Is a
Yes,
zip.
the
Still a
socket, the
zip.
socket itself,
Yeah.
Not the cores.
No cores. No cores.
Which leads into our next person's with Intel and how we're growing cores tremendously. You're able to do more with less.
So I apologize for having to run through the Windows Server.
Does your virtual instances include terminal server now, or is it just only virtual machines?
That's a very good question. I don't know. I know that there is an FAQ exactly for terminal services, but in my mind, I don't have the answer. I can look.
We'll get that answer for you. She's writing it down right now.
Okay, thank you.
Because I'll try to kind of step out of the room, get some of the answers, and give back to you guys. So with that, I covered what I wanted to. I hope I achieved the goal that I had at the very beginning here. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Raul.